At least not having that team derby on Sunday, I can get fucked up on Saturday.
Yeah, Zubris canceled.
That's a good start to the pod. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that without that team derby, I am so excited to entertain some Chesapeake Chana, as they're calling them nowadays.
Chesapeake Chana?
Yeah, you go to Wegmans, you see the Chesapeake Chana for sale. The snakehead.
What does Chana mean?
I don't know. It's Vietnamese for something, an exotic fish, but they call it like if you go, that's what they're trying to rebrand the snakehead as so people eat them more. They call them the Chesapeake Chana. I'm not kidding.
Nice.
And you're just seeing
selling it
headless
at
snakehead in
Wegmans?
the Wegmans. Oh, yeah. You're seeing headless snakehead in the local Wegmans down there.
That's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I'll just go to my local Vietnamese fisherman after a nice encounter on the Potomac. So you want some Chesapeake Chana?
I could have took one home on Saturday. Caught one on a frog that I thought was like a 7-pounder for a while. I went up on the bank.
Caught one on the bay. I've seen them so many times, but I don't think I've ever stuck one there.
Bro,
Oh,
I'm
you
like
will.
Dead,
Right when you
I'm
need to.
like dead high tide. Like I was just getting no bites out in the grass anymore. Like everything just kind of died. So I was like, fuck it. Let me go up like onto the bank and like just flip. So I knew like a stretch of bank that like floods out with like wood and stuff up there. And there's this like big overhanging tree. And I like skipped my frog all the way like back under it, like way past. I couldn't even see it. And I was just twitching it. And I just hear and I set the hook and lock up. And I was like, oh my God, that's a fish. That's a fish. And like right as I'm getting it to the edge of like the shade line, it rolls. So I see like the white of its stomach and I can see the size of it, but I can't tell like what it is yet on the first roll. I thought I had like a 7-pounder. I was like, oh my God, I got a giant. And then it rolled again. I saw it was a snakehead and I was like,
cut.
Oh, I was so mad.
Good old
The big
snakeheads. I remember seeing a
8 pounds.
giant there one time in like the apartment cove that had to have been like over 10 pounds, dude. The thing was huge and it was following like a little buzzbait I was throwing in the back out. Should have
When we were fishing the nation tournament last year, when we were all fishing next to each other, my co-angler caught like a 10-pounder. It was huge.
That's right.
My favorite snakehead experience is fishing in a 200-person flotilla out on the East Bank there. And he's doing an Allison, freaking starts hooking up. And the co-angler goes, and that's it. Everybody's staring at him because it's slick calm. You have 100 boats just staring at this dude fighting this fish because it was dead for a little bit. Dude freaking pulls up. And the co-angler goes, that's a snakehead. And the boater goes, yeah, it is. Metal bat. Ding. That goes across the whole thing.
Jeez.
I saw
Heard the conversation clear as day.
I saw somebody who will not be publicly named at a college tournament at the Potomac River catch one and beat it to death with a bump board.
Huh. I wonder who that was.
It was an incredibly violent act.
On that note, welcome back.
So what have the bums missed out on?
Well,
what is going on? Not much.
No, there was much.
No,
much happened.
No.
It happened. Not much for Zub.
Zub is on an absolute nightmare situation. We are at 2 weeks without a hook set right now. We're 2 weeks without a hook set, and my wallet is paying absolute dearly for it.
Oh god, another order.
Absolutely dearly for not setting the hook. But
rip off the band-aid. I gotta rip off the band-aid for Brennan.
Oh no.
No, don't do it.
We were at the Bass Nation back-to-backer at the Bay last weekend.
What a miserable showing.
Well, in a turn of events, how'd it go?
I pulled a Zub on the Bay.
What's that supposed to mean?
I had a miserable, awful, horrible, horrendous time at the Bay.
Yeah, they say it's better to like break the bad news first, right? So yeah, Brennan, you can start.
Day one, practice. We caught some fish. We caught some keepers. But the Bay, as everyone knows, has not been doing well this year. It was blown out, muddy water. I do have a little bit of that. I have a little bit of the practice footage we'll get uploaded for here because that actually had some fish. That was fun. And then day number one, it was blowing 30 miles an hour. It was like 15-mile-an-hour sustained winds.
It was
advisory.
It was actually like sustained 20. Like
it was bad.
I remember saying to my co-anchor, I was like, it has not stopped all day.
All night, dude. All night it was downpouring, torrential downpours. When Haas, when he opened up, he uncovered my boat in the morning for me because like they were already gone when we were like when Worth and I were just waking up, and he said there was just swimming pools on my cover that they had to dump out, and they got soaked in the morning. That was
nobody took my cover off for me.
No, I didn't take the cover off. They cleared it all and like put his crap in my boat.
What, Zub?
Sorry. How cold was it?
It was chilly. We had
in the morning.
Well, it was chilly on Sunday. Saturday it wasn't that cold.
Yeah, Sunday was worse. Sunday morning, dude, I had my wool winter cap on.
Saturday we also delayed.
Yeah,
because there was a gale warning in the morning. So they told me we were starting at 8, and then they told me we were starting at 7, and then I took a nap in my truck in the back of Anchor and got shaken awake at 6:15 saying, "Hey, we're going at 6:30."
Literally,
and I was like, I'm asleep and nothing's ready. You guys told me 8 at first. I thought I could catch a bit. I almost went back to the house.
Yeah.
When they said 8 at first, I was like, I'm gonna go get back in bed. It was 5:00 when I got there.
Yeah.
That was so annoying,
but anyway, so then we eventually take off, and it's windy. That's for sure.
It was howling. It wasn't bad getting out there though. I mean, it's not like it was, since it's straight out of the west, it was fine. You can make it around like barely any chop.
That straight out of the west has been a common wind there this year.
Yeah.
Because when I was out there, it was also straight out of the west. And it's not a secret to where people are fishing. Tell you Flats listeners. We were on the back channel area, which is directly to the west. Everybody's around there. It's no secret. But what blows my mind is how you are 50 to 100 yards away from the bank and your clothes are being blown off of you.
My co-angler lost his hat on Saturday from the wind gust that just ripped it right off his head.
I mean, the actual flat on Saturday, like when at the bottom portion of the wave, it was almost on the ground. Like you would bounce up, and then when you would come down, your trolling motor would kick up. Like you would go boom, like
there's no water out there.
Oh no.
It was crazy.
The bass were probably going, like it was just like, yeah.
They were not having a good time.
They were not having a great time.
I only know of one or two guys that were out there all day. You went out first thing in the morning on Saturday, right? To the flat?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I did that Sunday. I went out and immediately just left.
I gave her the old college try, but it was about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. Well, I pulled up to the back channel first thing on Saturday morning, and there was like already 20 boats sitting there.
Yeah.
For the 27 boat field, 20 of them were already there. And I caught a lot of fish on Saturday. I caught probably 20 or 30 bass, but every single one of them was 14 and a half to 14 and 7/8 inches. I ended up with a whopping 4 keepers, but I did get to catch a couple, and I caught some in Swan flipping wood. We caught them out on the flat on the back channel.
Okay.
Just no zero size, not even a limit. Wasn't great.
I did catch a limit. It was only like 12 pounds, but given the conditions and how god awful the tournament was, 12 pounds is still good enough for 6 on Saturday.
I got you 6th.
Yeah. So can't complain there. I honestly thought they weighed a little more than the scale said, but we don't need to talk about that.
What do you mean New Jersey Bass Nation scales were weighing light again? That never happens.
Never. Yeah, but I don't know. It wasn't an easy day, that's for sure. But it was like, I don't know. I felt like I could get bites. Like I wasn't fishing far from everybody else, but I wasn't fishing in everybody else. Like I was kind of
like quarter mile away from us.
Yeah, I was kind of off on the side doing my own thing, fishing some clumps I had found the day before. It didn't really catch them doing anything crazy, mostly on a chatterbait, some flipping. And it was like Brennan said, I started out in a different spot, more in the wind, and actually, like right when I got there, I caught like 2 keepers in a row, like right away.
Okay.
And I was like, in the first 10 minutes, I caught 2 keepers, and I was like, well, this is going to be awesome. And then literally over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I watched the watercolor change.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, geez. And I stuck it out for like as long as I could, but I'd never got another bite past the first 10 minutes. And I was just like, fuck it. Like, I got to go do something. So I picked up and I ran to those clumps off to the side of where everybody else was fishing. And I pull up to my first clump and I start throwing a chatterbait around like the edges of it. I don't get bit. And I turn around, I pick up a flipping rod. I flip into the middle, and first flip, I catch a 3-pounder. And I was like,
this is what we're doing.
I was like, all right, we're gonna be okay. And I just kind of settled into there, just like rotating clumps that I had marked. And was able to get my limit. Like I said, it kind of slowed down when the tide got high, and I went up and fished some stuff on the bank on a high tide. I was able to catch one that cold up there, just throwing around some wood. And I caught that snakehead that I thought was going to be lunker of the tournament. That wasn't. And then I went back out into the grass at the end. Like, Brennan, I don't know if you remember that like pop-up storm that rolled through like right at the end of the day.
Ridiculous.
So I was back out in the grass during that.
For 30 seconds, 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, like well, you guys know. I mean, everybody who fishes the bay knows like how there's those little bite windows. So I rolled back out there, and like right before the storm rolled in, like in that like calm before the storm period.
Oh yeah.
There was a window where like I was right next to Ryan, and Ryan caught a couple. I caught a couple keepers that didn't help. which again, I don't know how you're catching keepers that don't help when you only have 12 pounds, but whatever.
Oh,
And then I went back in, and that was my day. But like I said, turned out not to be as bad as I thought it was.
no.
When I came in, honestly, I didn't like. I was so like mad and upset with how it went that I didn't even like stick around to like see what the results were. I just went right into the goose to get some orange crushes. And Brennan will tell you, like,
I'm still mad and upset.
I was so mad. Like I was on watch. Like I was losing it. And then I didn't find out until the next day that like I really didn't need to be upset at all because I was in 6th place.
Okay.
But I thought it was way worse than it was. Just turns out nobody caught him.
I'm still mad how the guy that I guess he won the second day was catching them and got second the first day.
Yeah.
That made me upset.
Well, what was going on, guys? Don't secrets don't make friends.
Well, I mean, it's somebody else's. Like, if I was doing it, I would say it, but based on the fact that it wasn't me, like,
That's fair.
It's not like a secret, but I don't know. I don't want to talk on what other people are doing.
That's fair.
The window's over for it now at this point, but
yeah, it doesn't matter. But still, I'll say this. It's something that both me and Brennan have done and done successfully a bunch of times, and we should have done it. And it was like the only thing that I usually do that I didn't even check.
Yeah.
So what made you not do it this time? Because like I said, I know what it is. I wanted to see what your take on breaking it was.
Because the last few times,
it's live and die on the flat.
I'm so like flat, like you got to be in the grass minded now. And like, even on Friday when I knew the wind was going to be bad, like on Friday, I still practiced on the big flat the entire day.
Yeah.
And then wound up being able to fish it for like 10 minutes. Like, and I knew it was going to blow. And I was just like,
be possible.
I knew it was going to blow. And in my head, I was just like, oh, I'll thug it out, you know? And it's also like the last few times, specifically where this guy was.
Right.
I check it every time. And the last like 3 or 4 times in a row, I go in and I just don't catch shit.
Huh.
So I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, it used to be awesome. And I was like, I guess this is just over. Like, I'm fucking done with this. And I mean, and here's the thing, right? Like, this guy caught 18 on day 1 and he caught 15 on day 2, which wound up being huge bags for these tournaments.
Yeah.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, like,
that ain't gonna get you.
In normal circumstances, that's still not doing anything.
18 would have gotten him a top 5, but
I didn't even know that. Like
for the nation, 18 would have gotten him a top 5 probably.
But
I don't know.
My point
like
being is, if I'm going in there and practice, right, and my assumption is that like I can catch like 15, 16 pounds, like that's something I'm still writing off. Like I'm not going to go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's a piece of knowledge that we've acquired, and it's just like, okay, the bay is trash, high winds, fishing like dog shit. Ever happens again in our career, I know to run it.
It's just one of those things where like I knew it was going to be bad, and it was like even way worse than I thought it was going to be.
Well, here's the other thing. I might have given you boys some bad intel because what he did, I tried multiple times throughout the windows where it should have been, a thing. And it wasn't. You know what I mean?
I went and did it on Sunday and I caught 2 or 3, 14 inchers. I was just like, son of a bitch.
I think it's also a situation where I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure this fella dedicated his like entire day to doing it.
Yeah.
The window for it was definitely the mornings though, and before other people get into it. Like when I saw him, like he was just like, I want to get to this spot, but there's been a guy sitting there all fucking day. He was like,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
But yeah, I don't know. It was like I personally in the spring, like end of May, beginning of June, I've never seen it this bad ever.
well, I was showing Zub the Snapchat memory, and May 31st last year was our like derp day, practice day, and you know here we are. Look, nothing like that.
No.
Nowhere even close.
No.
I mean, that's the thing. Even on Friday when we got out there for practice, the flats it sucked out there, like big time.
It was iffy. It was like fish were like way more spread out, than they usually seem to be.
Yeah.
But then here's where things get interesting, and there's some bassin talk that I think is worth talking about, and that's Sunday, the day I saved my season, and
it saved my season.
And on Sunday, like we mentioned earlier, when I woke up, it was cold, like legitimately cold. Like I had my Carhartt sweatshirt and my jacket on pretty much the entire day.
Yeah.
I took my jacket off late in the day, and I never took my sweatshirt off. So it was cold, and it was blowing pretty much just as hard again. It wasn't supposed to, but it was.
Never let up.
And I got out there to kind of where I was fishing the day before, or at least where I caught most of my fish the day before. And right away, I did try to stop. I stopped for like literally 30 seconds on the spot that I started on Saturday. And like I stopped, stood up, looked down at the water, and I just turned around and said to my co-owner, I was like, just sit back down. Like we're not even, we're not going to, it was like, dude,
Sunday morning, I
dipped
did
my chatterbait in the water and it disappeared in 3 inches, like completely. So I was like, all right, sit back down. We're going. So then I ran over, and when I got there, the water temperature was like 8 degrees colder than it was when I left there at the end of the day before. Which immediately got, I don't know, to me, I'm thinking, right, grass fish, right? The day before, I caught a lot on a chatterbait and stuff like that, in like the lanes, like in between clumps, and like fish kind of swimming around chasing bait. The first thought I had when I saw that water temperature was like, all right, like and I think this is something I learned in my time in Florida a lot, but when the water temperature drops like that, I typically think that these grass fish like to like get in tight, like, and get into like the heavier cover and kind of like hunker down. So literally right when I dropped the trolling motor, the first thing I did before I even took a cast was I sat down and I retied. And I tied on a heavier weight with a flipping rig, and I started flipping into the heavier, like more matted stuff and flipping down into it. And in very similar fashion to the day before, I mean, a completely different spot and it's completely different bait, but I caught 2 keepers in like 10 minutes doing it. And I was like, okay. And there were other people in the area it seemed like people were trying to expand on like what didn't work for them the day before, and more people were kind of meandering over to like the part that I was on. So there were people around, and as the day went on, I kind of started, because there was a lot of people in there I knew. Like I was talking to you and Ryan and Bob and other guys in the tournament and some of the Five Alive guys, and like I didn't see anybody besides myself really catching anything. Everybody I talked to didn't really have anything. And I was doing something like a little different that was getting me bites. So I just kind of flipped the switch of like, I'm putting my head down, I'm staying focused, and I'm doing this all day long. And I fished slow, like the slowest I've fished in a really long time. And I just went back and forth on the heaviest, like densest stuff that I knew about in that area. And I just flipped that. I mean, I would flip that heavyweight in there, let it go through everything, let it hit the bottom, and just hold it. Like I would just hold it there. And then you like pick it up slow, and right as you kind of start to lift it. And it was one of those things where I could tell the bite was tough. I could tell people weren't catching them. It was still blowing, so I couldn't go out and like try my other stuff. And I was just like, man, I'm putting the head down. I'm doing this all day. And that's what I did. I wound up catching like high 3, almost 4. I caught another like 3.5. And I was able to catch a limit and call a couple times doing that on top of, the numerous shorts like everybody experienced. But I kind of stuck with it. And then once I got to, about the weight that I had for the day, I made the decision with like 2 hours left that I had to like try to swing for something. So I ran back up into the Northeast, hit a bunch of stuff, caught a couple fish, but nothing that helped me. In hindsight, I kind of wish I just stayed, because like at least I was getting more bites, and like the tide was kind of turning to a good point. But also it's like one of those things where I think it's a decision I had to make. Like I probably could have caught more fish. I don't know for sure if I would have caught any more that would have helped me. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But also maybe I could have caught a giant up in the Northeast. Like I don't know. It's a decision that I wish I had stayed, but I'm content with the decision I made because I felt like it was a decision I had to make. And to make a long story short, I wound up coming back in and doing what I do in every single Bass Nation tournament on the Bay ever. And I finished in 3rd place, which there's now 5 of them back there in the past 3 years that say Bass Nation Chesapeake Bay 3rd place. So
5.
I don't know what it is about 2nd. I don't know what it is about 4th, but it's exactly 3rd place every time.
They're worse than Patrick Henry.
Yeah. But what they did was save my season. I wound up being one of only 2 guys in the whole deal that caught a limit both days. And because of that, I'm coming out of the weekend in 2nd place for the state AOY. I don't know how that happened, because it didn't feel that good. But I'm definitely proud of it, because I fished really, really hard and did about as much as I think I could have done. And like I said, this wasn't a stat I knew at the time, but seeing afterwards that I was one of only 2 guys to catch a limit both days, I feel pretty good about that. Like
I feel great. No, I feel great about that.
Yeah, I feel good that I have like the consistency factor. I don't know. It's hard to like adjust your brain because you're thinking about the Bay, and like and like it wasn't bags that like I'm used to having to have to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you come in with those fish and you're like, all right, well, I kind of feel fulfilled because I worked really hard and like got the job done, but I know this isn't going to be enough. But your brain knowing this isn't going to be enough, it's like the only time in history, like we say this all the time. All the time you're like, oh, it was probably tough. And then you're just lying to yourself. You go in and everybody smashed them. This was like the first time ever that like it went the other way. Like I was like, oh, it definitely wasn't that tough. And it was tougher. Like, so I don't know. It's a weird feeling because the result was great. I'm right where I want to be. I mean, second place for AOI. The ultimate goal is making that national championship, and if I stay there, I'm in. So, I'm very happy with the result. It just felt weird because it didn't feel like I did it, even though I did. I don't know. It was some brutal fishing, but like we've talked about a lot of times, that's kind of, I feel like that's kind of where I shine a lot. Like,
I think it's the best place to shine.
Bad.
It's like, I think that's when you have your opportunity as someone that has, none of us are really locals to a major fishery. You know what I mean? We fish them a lot, but none of us are really locals. You know what I mean? That's the time where, people in our situation have the most, or like anybody's situation who's listening to this, when you have the most, opportunity to really do well, is to put your head down and adapt to those conditions just a little bit better and beat that that's how you beat that local knowledge, is adapting, just that basic instinct. I think that's a really key thing to being successful. Because, a lot of guys in that New Jersey nation, not a lot, but there's a handful of guys that are local that fish that tournament. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there were guys in that tournament that win those major tournaments, not just show up and fit, like guys who regularly win those major tournaments that did not come in with a limit on Sunday.
Right.
Multiple of them. And like you said, it felt fulfilling in the fact of like, sometimes you go out there and you just catch them and it's like, okay, like that was awesome. Like I just went out there and I caught them. But sometimes you say to yourself, okay, these are the conditions. This is what I'm dealt with. I'm going to make this adjustment. And to make that adjustment and have it work and then succeed and then beat guys like that, the strength of that adjustment, like, feels pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, it should feel awesome.
Like, it doesn't always happen the way, like, I think there's a lot of cool fishing feelings in bass fishing, but the feeling of like, oh, I thought of that and I was right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it has to be up there.
The when you put that last puzzle piece in, like it's very
final
similar
adjustment.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like when you're practicing, and like it's the last day of practice, it hasn't been going well. It's the last hour, and all of a sudden you figure out what they're biting.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh yeah, like that's the cool. That's the cool thing, and like I said, it didn't even come together for me mentally until after the tournament, because like I was still coming into the weigh-in feeling like I hadn't done enough.
Right.
But afterwards and kind of contextualizing the whole weekend and thinking about it driving home, I was like, all right, we did what we came to do.
No, I mean, I'll go in on you on this, because this is one thing that happened with me and Brendan, not you, at our good finish the other weekend. And we were in that last predicament at you at the same time. I want to bring that up then, how like we had that last hour and a half, 2 hours left. And it's like, looking back at it now, I kind of wish we stayed in that area, because, it's the common never leave fish to find fish. And like it holds true every time, even when there's the potential. And when I went out there, so say, I was in the same general area as you, we kind of did the same thing. But instead of going to the Northeast, I went out to the main flat. And when I went out to the main flat, here's the difference. It was calm. It was clean. It was sunny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
we
never
never
caught a large fish out there earlier.
We never got none of that.
That's what I'm saying. You guys never had any of that. So it's like that wasn't even a consideration. But for us, it was. However, looking back at it, we had to call out a 215. We didn't have to catch a 5. We didn't have to catch a 6. We needed a pound. We needed a 3 to 4 pounder.
Yeah.
And in all reality, that was more attainable there.
Yeah.
So that's just, something you have to keep within range. I mean, here's the thing, though. You don't always know. Like, I always think at the same time, like, oh, man, if I have 20, everybody else has 30. You know what I mean? It's like you really sometimes need to just fish your fish and make the most out of it.
Yeah, well, that was
part of the decision-making process.
I don't know about you guys, but I like the last second, like, I call it the hero run of like the end of the day, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go run over here and do something different to try to like get that,
random.
I do it all the time.
I agree.
And it never pans out.
I can tell you one time in my entire life it worked. It never works. And you just like hype yourself up and you get behind the driver's seat and you're like buzzing there and you're like, it's game time. We're going to show them. This is it. This is the moment. This is the Bassmaster Classic moment here, and you hype yourself up for it. And it never, ever, ever works.
But then the time you stay there and you grind it out and you just spent 2 hours and didn't get a bite for your last 2 hours on the same spot.
Well, then maybe we just suck. Maybe we just suck at the end of the day. No,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is.
Because there is none. There isn't a right answer. It's just you go off your gut. I think that's just it. You have all these experiences, but at the end of the day, you go off your gut. But I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like anything because I've been burned by that so many times too. It's haunting. But you're just that hope. It's hope.
I feel like you should only do the hero run in like super desperation. Like if you're catching fish, like
you should not be leaving.
Any quality. It's like,
why would you leave?
Why am I going to, especially to fish stuff that like, to just fish whatever, like stuff I haven't touched and I don't even know what it's going to look like. Like I pulled up on a couple spots, like that I hadn't been to in years. And like I looked down in the water and it was just like disgusting. And I was just like, why? Why am I even here? Like, what did I do? Like, I really, really wish I stayed. But like, because like the one time that the hero run did work for me was the college tournament with Worth at Erie.
Right.
Where it was like, it was out of complete desperation. There was an hour and a half left and we didn't have a fish.
Oh.
So it was like, screw it. Like, you got to do the hero run. It's all that's left.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's left. And then we pulled up to our hero run spot and caught a fish every single cast for an hour straight. So that one worked out, but that's the only time.
That's a very rare.
My hero run did not work, so on Sunday.
I'm going to tell you about a time where I had a hero run not work at all. So it was actually on the Chesapeake Bay.
There it is.
And it was my nation tournament. I had a 5, a 3, and a 2. I'm like, okay, I need one more bite. Because it was another one of those, like 16 pounds one. And it was another one of those rougher ones. And it's PA Nation, so like guys aren't crazy good. I'm like, okay, well, out there. They're good. But it's like, they don't really know it that well out there. You're not going to have that big bite. I'm like, I need one more good bite. And I was in the sea of, I caught 30 fish that day. I was on the main flat, but I was in the sea of 14-inch 2-pounders. Like, it was horrible. Nightmare situation. Anyway, long story short, 10 minutes left. go to a very major community hole, very close to the ramp. So community hole that a fellow boat owner right behind me in a tin boat fishing the ABA series comes right behind me, and we get there at the same time. And we're both going to the same exact dock. There's a dock. And we're both going to the dock. And I go, howdy. And he goes, howdy. And he was nice. I'm like, listen, we both got here at the same time. We're idling back. We both know what's about to go down. I'll let you pick, left or right. He goes, I'll take the left. I'll take the right. Sounds good to me, right? I go to the right. I don't get jack diddly squat. He makes one cast with a shaky head on the left. He catches a 7-pounder. Big fish of the ABA.
And you would have won the derb with that.
Absolute nightmare scenario for the hero run. Justifies the hero run.
Kind
Yeah.
of. Almost.
Kind of. It shows that it's possible. Just sometimes you're not always the hero. He was the hero that day.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's like because I want to have, I like things to be black and white. Like I want to have like a should I do it, should I not do it? But like every situation is different.
That makes it too easy.
Yeah. That's why you never freaking know. You could spend the last 2 hours grinding it out on the flat, catch one more 14-incher. You could go into the Northeast and stick a 7-pounder and change the entire day.
They're not real.
You just never know.
Yeah, well, I think that also, again, the thought process of like me not being able to wrap my head around how tough it actually was.
Yeah.
Is what forced me to do that, because I really only needed like one like half decent call to jump from third to second. But in my head, I like needed to catch a 5-pounder.
Yeah.
Like, and I knew like I could catch like a 3 to 4-pounder where I was because I had caught 2 of them already that day. But I didn't think I could catch like a 5+ because I'd been there for the better part of 2 days and hadn't caught or seen one that big. So in my head, I needed like a really big one. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go up into the Northeast. It's the only place in my head right now where I feel like I could do that. And I didn't, obviously, but I also didn't need it. Like I thought I did. But I don't know. You just can't.
It's always 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And like,
And that's the thing. Those
it's not even totally hindsight because like I'm saying, I very easily could have stayed where I was and not upgraded at all.
It's the gamble.
I just feel like if I had known where I was sitting, I would have made a different decision.
Well, that's the art of fishing the club derby, not the Bass Pro Tour, you know?
Yeah.
It's very true.
That's it. I don't need to start Bass Pro Tour slandering, but
no. Anyway, diving into another aspect of bassing, I've been tinkering with tackle. I just want to like bring this out because I don't know, you know me, always tinkering, always trying something different. I just tied this on because I'm going bassing in a couple days. And just trying a couple different things out, some new tackle out for the Ike Derb, some little alternates. And I stumbled into a new chatter chicken, a new chatter blade, a new vibrating bladed jig. I want to show the class because I want to get your take on it. Presenting the Jackal brake blade.
I was looking at those.
Very interesting. Small blade. Long,
doesn't have a little weed guard, right?
Very long, weird skirt material.
Yeah.
Really nice colors. I love this color. Do you enjoy this color, Alex? I like this color.
I feel like it's
The color is supposed to be like a bluegill.
It's not really, but
It's not.
kind of a little weed
what is going on with that skirt material at the bottom? Why is it all stuck?
No, it's it's like all like.
Is it the same text like material, or is it?
No, it's two different skirt materials.
What is it?
It's like different silicones. Like one's like a more silicone, and one's like a living rubber.
I would probably end up chopping that bottom part.
I don't know, because I'm trying to think like, do I put a trailer on this or do I just let it ride?
That bottom part's pissing me off.
It's pissing me off, but like, do I just put the
Pissing me
trailer on
off,
it, or do I let it
Making
ride?
me
Snip,
mad.
snip.
Making me really mad.
I think you gotta let it ride.
What's going on with the blade? Because I feel like that's the real difference. This skirt is
Well,
the skirt.
Let me find a jackhammer. Marco. Hold
Polo.
on. Marco.
Polo.
Oh God.
Zoop's just gonna throw a Sanko on the ice turf. I don't know why he's doing this.
Here is Mr. Jackhammer. So, Jackhammer, Jackal, wow. It's a smaller blade.
Yeah.
It's a much smaller blade.
It's a little bit longer, like the point.
Yeah. Point's longer. It's not, doesn't have much of a bend to it either. It also has a more streamlined head, and the head doesn't hit like a jackhammer. It's kind of more separate. So now I'm tying this on because I'm going out. I have a couple of friends and family heading up to Lake Zub this weekend. And I'm actually gonna finally, hopefully, have my first night outing of the year. And I can really dive into that because I know that's happening.
You ever be throwing a wake bait?
Hang on, real quick, before we start diving into this whole mess. Are you? I almost don't even want to say this, but while we're talking weird chatterbaits, have you guys yet to familiarize yourself with the grass piece?
Yes.
Grass piece?
Don't have one on me. Have thrown.
I
Don't
have.
like it.
I don't have them like here in this room, but I have them in my boat.
I don't like it.
Why?
I think it's just a swim jig. It feels more swim jig.
Al, you throw this thing?
And it also doesn't come through grass.
It's called a grass piece. It's not for grass.
No, it's not.
It's not for grass.
It's not for grass.
I mean, it can be if it's like thin.
But no, it doesn't come through.
It's not for grass.
Then what's it for? Then what is it for?
It's for laydowns.
Oh, yeah.
Like a spinner bait. I mean,
kinda. It's, I don't know. It's I don't really know what to even say it is.
It's.
Have you been throwing it a lot lately?
You know what it is.
I've been playing with it.
You know what it is.
It's for scoping.
No.
It gets bit.
You know exactly what it is.
Are you gonna say knuckleball?
I was just gonna.
But am I wrong?
It's the same.
It's the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would have never, ever even considered trying this bait if I wasn't told by some very, very high level fishermen that I should try it. If I didn't hear directly from their mouths that it was the real deal, I would have never tried it because it looks stupid.
It does.
And I still haven't dialed it in to the point where I've like mopped them up on it, but it is very situational, and it does get bit. I have caught fish on it. It does get bit. But
I mean, what do you think makes that different than some like just one big Colorado blade or something like that?
It doesn't get
Well,
hung.
Yeah.
Or bad.
But does a big Colorado blade really get hung? I mean, that thing
Right,
you're
but
gonna have.
like the big Colorado blade has
see comparing it to a big Colorado blade
that's
is
a
the
totally
wrong
different
comparison.
profile.
It's the wrong
Comparing
comparison.
it to maybe like a
nothing.
swim jig to a
It fishes
chatterbait.
nothing like that. Yeah, it's like so
Well,
it's.
I'm picturing it going really slow through the water.
No,
It's ripping like a chatterbait fast.
no, you're ripping this thing like a freaking swim jig.
The blade is like small, like it's a tight, like it's a quicker, tighter. You're fishing it like a chatterbait. It's in the chatterbait category. It looks weird, but it's a chatterbait. But it's a subtler chatterbait. It's really like when I say it's situational, this is the situation. The situation is they're in wood laydowns, heavier cover, but they still want to eat something moving. They want to eat a chatterbait. They don't want to eat a jig or a worm or whatever you're flipping in there. And you can throw this into stuff that your chatterbait's not going to make it out the other side of. But this will.
Isn't that what that jackal one that Zubris was holding was kind of designed for? They were trying to advertise it as with the little like hook guard on there, weed cover.
Yeah, but like even like the early Z-Man chatterbaits had hook guards on it, and you would stall if you threw those in a tree.
That's the thing. I've tried to make this happen before with the Z-Man has a chatterbait right now. It's like
it's their football head one that how you're thinking.
No,
right?
It's not.
It's got
two. It's got two like wire guards on.
Yes,
it, like this.
Cross eyes.
Yes, that's the one. And it does like do better on like not getting snagged and stuff. I just like haven't caught anything on it.
No.
This I have, but it looks dumb. Like I said, I would have never tried it if I wasn't told to, because it looks stupid, but it does work.
Interesting.
Well, moving on, since Al gave up his, there is a chatterbait right now, a specific chatterbait that also helps this cause. And for some reason, I really don't know why this works. Anyway, we're going to touch on something else in a second. But this is the Norris Hula Chat. Is the Taku chat.
That thing's weird.
Right? Norris makes an interesting bait. I don't know why. It's loud. Like, you have a metal plate right here that this bangs off of. Out as all hell. Vibrates like a champ.
Here's something I'll say. Also, at first eyeball looks stupid. But anything that's got that Nori's name on it, I trust it.
Let's be completely real. Like, if we're talking about things that look stupid, that grass piece looks fucking stupid.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like,
it looks moronic.
I mean, I'm sure when this first came out, it looked stupid.
Just gonna say the chatterbait to begin with, if we didn't know what it was, looks stupid. Period. I mean, a spinner bait looks really stupid.
Yeah, no, like
It's
it
really
all
just what
looks-
we're conditioned
Yeah.
to know.
Mhm.
Like a chatterbait, like for forever, just straight up didn't exist.
Yeah. 2008.
Something
Yeah,
like
like there's gonna be new stuff that comes in, and like just because it isn't like an established like
Or
type
mainstream
or
doesn't mean it's,
category of a bait does not mean a bass won't eat it.
very true.
So
Like a
no,
chatter,
I've thrown this in the same situation you have out and done very well. I had a grass piece, and here's the thing: I had one, and I lost it to a laydown.
Hate to see that.
So nothing's 100%.
it's definitely not
harder.
100. It is
They've
still
been
a
harder to
moving
come
bait
by.
with a big gaff hook in it. Like it's not like
Yeah.
No.
it's not perfect, but have you ever tried to throw a jackhammer through the middle of a laydown?
Yeah, and like I don't know. It's like
How
there's
does
a part of
that
me
go?
that still just likes going with him. And there's nothing wrong with still just going with him. Or reliable. But sometimes a lot of people will just throw just him. And sometimes they just need something a little different to go for them to hear to make them, you know.
I just don't get bit on him north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
I don't know. I just like I used to not, and then I just like locked it in my hand this year, and I've had a wonderful time.
When I lived in Florida, it was like the only bait I threw. But for anybody who didn't see him hold it, him is a swim jig.
Yeah,
Talking
him
about
is
a
a basic
jig
swim
now.
jig. Literally nothing crazy.
Yeah, when I was down south, a swim jig was my favorite bait, and I came back up here thinking I was just gonna make it translate, and just didn't. Like I don't like I just don't catch that many fish on a swim jig up here.
I feel like I either throw a chatterbait or just a regular, flipping jig. There's no
Like
crossover.
I go
of
down
this
south and I cross their eyes up on a swim jig, but like I've tried to do it. I don't know. I just don't tend to catch them that good on it up here. I don't know why.
So what are you doing now, bud?
Just want to get this off. I have to spool some things up later.
He's always doing something. He's doing anything but what he's supposed to be doing.
What am I supposed to be doing? I'm enlightening the youth, enlightening the future.
Jesus. Oh, Jason.
Oh yeah, there's so much just random. Like I could go on for hours about how depressed I've been recently, of just random loot that came in the last couple of days. Just pure random loot.
The nitro didn't break because of poor quality. It just broke because of the 1,400 pounds of tackle of Japanese.
I like to shove
tackle
all of this into my boater's boat. Every last drop. Like
yeah. Well, the night before, I'll help you under the cover of darkness. We'll remove all of his baits.
what do you mean? He's not even be allowed to bring them. I'm sure I'm going to his house. I'm just going to lock them all in and say, drive now. I'm not even bringing the tracker for like the reason to use the boat. I'm just bringing the tracker for a trailer for my tackle. That's all it is.
Just so you can transport all your crap.
Just I can transport all.
I hope there's a lot of parking because we're gonna be.
There has to be a lot.
We're gonna be way over quota on boats.
How many boats we got? Like, Jared might be.
Why don't you fish out of Jared's?
Worth is
mine's already coming down.
Worth is also bringing his boat. So
oh geez, we're at like 7.
Safe.
Tracker's just not allowed. Sorry.
So safe. Safe parking wise, not safe power wise.
That's the big issue.
The day that we need power,
we can just cut off half the boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really safe. Also, this came in the other day too. Very impressed with the black and blue little Smitty.
Yeah, they're slick.
On there. They are slick little jigs.
They're slick. I like them.
I'm a fan.
But
Mr. Hyde
they're
was
very
like-
similar along the line to like my bread and butter swim jig from like my entire life, which was the like OG little tiny
OG
thin wire Strike King guy. It's got like that like narrower, pointier head like the Strike King one has, and it has like a thinner hook. It's more beefy than the Strike King hook, but it's not like a giant gaff of a hook, which I feel like is like, I don't know. I have a problem with like the really, really big, thick hooked swim jigs because like sometimes I'm catching fish on a swim jig on like a really long cast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't want like a hook that's impossible to drive. Like, yeah, like that's I like that.
That's the OG Strike King. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, that is. Oh, I was just looking at the hook.
This is
Yeah, I love
actually one of the first fish I caught a swim jig on was on this one, and it's like, oh, I've never thrown a jig before. At my first college tournament, I'm like, oh man, I never really threw a jig. I went to Cayuga, I ripped it through a grass bed, caught like a 5-pound smallmouth. So
is this why you're saying throw a swimming jig in 15 feet of water?
no, I'm saying throwing it in 22 feet of water, but that's a conversation we'll have a little later.
Yeah, it's a conversation I'm not ready for. But
what else what do we need to address in the conversion of things?
I wanted to talk.
Do I talk about crabs?
What?
I talk about crabs?
Jesus.
No. Okay, no crabs. Got it. What do you want to talk about?
Where do you plan on implementing that?
What do you think?
He's gonna throw it on Lake Zoo.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know where you're gonna throw it.
2 weeks. It will be thrown.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
You're gonna catch a freaking striper, maybe.
Perfect. Lunch. Anyway.
After I got home, I went to a predominantly smallmouth, but both are very present lake, and did some bed fishing. Had a very good time doing that. And I wanted to kind of poke the boys on what is your like standardized bed fishing approach?
First of all, I think bed fishing is a mortal sin. I think bass should be left alone to their own devices during the spawn. I think that
there we go. That's better.
it is disgusting, a despicable act that should not be done, repeated.
Can you mute him?
Yes.
Well, was it? What kind of go-to is that for you?
Just to really finish my tangent on that, bed fishing, I do not condone bed fishing in a tournament situation. I don't like when, especially in sensitive northern fisheries. This is the thing. You have a sensitive northern fishery where you have a 2 to 3 week window of bass spawning. Want to catch them? Sure, put them back. Don't have tournaments on a 2 to 3 week window when the northern bass are spawning. You want to fish for them? That's fine. Put them back. Whatever. Southern bed fishing, have at it. They spawn for months. There's so much going on. Whatever. That's it. That was sarcasm. But no, like bed fishing is a weird thing. Go ahead.
We'll get into the fishing part of it in a second, but yeah. I have a very, very different take on this.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm right, but I think I am. I think it's more harmful. But I would rather I would rather the season be closed in the middle of the summer than during the spawn.
No, I think that makes more sense.
I think that taking your fish in 85-degree water, hauling them to weigh in, dropping them off, and having 50% of your fucking tournament have the fish die, I think is way, way, way worse than pulling a fish off of a bed and bringing it to weigh in.
No, I
If you
agree.
pull a fish off a bed and bring it to weigh in, okay, yeah, you might fuck up that specific bed. You might fuck up that specific fish's spawn at that exact time. Two things. One, odds are after release him, he's going to go find another bed and like still make the thing happen. Two, he can do it next year because he's not dead.
Yeah.
If he's dead, he's never spawning.
Correct.
My question with the spawn, right? Because like I'll go to my pond and I'll go look, and the bluegills are on their beds for weeks, it feels like. But a bass, like especially up here, I mean, they're on the bed and then they're gone the next day. They're not guarding their eggs.
Right, but you also have to think
doing?
about the sheer volume of bluegill, Brent. Like, you know, the bluegill you're looking at aren't the same ones. There's this endless cycles of bluegill.
Yeah, but like the whole point would be like, oh, they're getting like their thing on, like Al says, like, you know, he didn't spawn when I caught him. He's gonna spawn probably the next day after I let him go, or like in the next couple days.
No, I'm saying like in an aspect, like if you're gonna bed fish for them, that's whatever, fine. I'm saying for an instance where you're fishing for them in a tournament, you take them 20 miles away.
Yeah, but I think
they go back. They do go back. 100% go back.
I don't. He's not going to go back 20 miles to his bed. I'm not saying. I'm just saying like he's going to probably just make another one.
On the St. Lawrence, they do go 20 miles back to their bed.
Well, I'm sure.
On Cayuga, they do it too. I know they will travel because the state record that keeps getting caught up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it goes back to
the same boulder on a bed every year. Yeah.
Same goes. Dude has them on lock. Travels. I know where the bed's at. It's like almost 30 miles away, and it goes back. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like they will go back, but no, I agree with you on that. It just that comes down to a whole economical thing. At the end of the day, you know, like they want to have people fishing in the summer. They're not going to close a season during peak activity. You know, they're like people. Not a lot of people fish early spring. You know what I mean? Like they do, but like the hardcore tournament fishermen do. You're not your casual, you know, everybody else.
I don't know, but it's like they don't like when the season's closed, they don't tell you can't fish for them. It's season is catch and release only.
And Pennsylvania can't fish for them.
What?
No, I'm sorry. You can't fish on a bed in Pennsylvania.
Really? That's a rule?
That's actually like straight up in the manual. You cannot be fishing a spawning. Yeah, that's like straight up in the manual. No, that's illegal.
What?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I doubt anyone follows that, but
no, nobody follows it, and like it's very difficult to enforce. But it's in the manual. It's in the regs.
Well,
Al's having a stroke right now.
I can tell you one guy who's broken that a ton of times.
I sure hope not in my great state of Pennsylvania, you foreign New Jersey gas pumper.
Well, not me. I'm not talking about me.
Who are you talking about then?
You. No.
I didn't say any names. It could be anyone.
No. People would never.
We're all just trying to find the guy who did this.
And bring him to justice. I think Trump should get the National Guard over here and figure it out instead of, California. Anyway.
But yeah, I think they should change the closed season to July and August instead of May and June. But whatever.
Well, Fish and Wildlife, organizations, Fish and Wildlife regulation agencies across the country are kind of adapting to that. And if they're not adapting to it, freaking tournament organizations are. Like, you're not having a tournament in the flats past like 4th of July now, which is nice.
They're still happening.
Well, this year that's mainly because of the Open, but
That too, but still, that helps. I know down in South Carolina and Hartwell, I mean, you know, all those southern states, they drop to a 3 bass limit for a lot of their tournaments once the summer heats up, which, you know, helps. Less space in the live well, less fish coming in. Not great, but it's like it's a tough call. You know what I mean? The amount of economic drive that has sucks.
You know, my thing is too, though. What is the, like, you know, everyone says is there's like a certain amount of the population that needs to be cold too. What damage is the tournament actually doing compared to what we see?
well, the problem with the tournament is that the fish being quote unquote cold are not the right one, because everybody's bringing in their 5 best.
Yeah, no.
But,
Like,
if everybody was bringing in 5, 12 to 14 inches, then yeah, sure.
Or even just 5 random ones. You know what I mean? That's like the way to do it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm proposing the whole thing where everybody should just eat their 5 bass limit after a tournament.
Everyone should just pull a zoo.
Better yet, just fish out of a tracker and just throw them in that live well or
Ice chest, whatever you want to call it.
I had largemouth chili for lunch the other day, and it felt really wrong. It felt so bad.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, I also had a largemouth. I had a 5-pound Potomac River largemouth sandwich. That was a little shake and bake on there.
A little shake and bake.
Yesterday, I texted you that you're a top 5 worst person in the history of mankind, and I strongly stick by that statement.
Did I bump up any ranks? Did I make just
Potentially,
yet? Yeah,
you might have just beat out the H-man.
You're
Halliburton, yeah.
another largemouth sandwich away from number 1.
Don't bring up Hal-Qaeda.
Okay.
Don't talk about the Haliban.
So then
Okay,
fishing.
anyway, back to the whole.
So anyway, in a totally not gonna happen hypothetical dream world, if somebody were to illegally roll up on a Pennsylvania bass on a bed, what would the hypothetical person hypothetically do?
My number one bait in that situation is always gonna be something I could really see, and something that's gonna move. Is it a smallmouth or a largemouth, first of all?
Let's say largemouth first, but I want to hear both.
Largemouth first. I'm gonna go with your really basic white craw, number 1. I'm a huge sucker for the white craw. I think it could fire them up. You could work it a lot. You could swim it in front of their face. You could really gauge their activity level. And then after that, I'll probably, depending on how they're behaving to that, I'll go with something a little more natural. Another thing that I really like to try is when they're trying to, you have a situation where you want to say fire one up. I do bring this out a lot.
The Gantarelle.
The Gantarelle. And I do put, I don't have it on there now. Right down here, I'll put like 5/16 ounce little free rig weight. And I'll have it just like peck. And just, really just burn it down there, stop it, let it nose down on them. And then rip it through. And then go back. And then I'll go back with either the white craw or I'll go down with something a little more natural. Maybe a Senko. Maybe, I don't know, like you go with a drop shot. At the end of the day, I'm going for a largemouth that's typically going to have a bed in a rougher situation. I like to have a baitcaster. I like to have a baitcaster 9 times out of 10 in the situation. Sometimes you have to go with the spinning rod, but I'd rather have the baitcaster. I don't do it a lot. That's the whole thing. Because there's like a lot of different approaches to it. Like you could definitely throw something like this. People throw like do you ever hear the shrimp in the bottle technique? Al?
I don't
Have you guys ever
think
heard of
so.
this? The
No.
shrimp in the shrimp in the bottle, shrimp in the cup. It's actually it's a Japanese largemouth technique where they actually take like a red Solo cup or like not red Solo cup, but some type of a plastic cup, right? And they put like a worm or a craw under the cup. So the bass has to actually it gets so pissed off it actually knocks the cup over and picks up the bait. It gets so pissed off at
Are you
it.
saying alive?
No. Like you have like I'm trying to look to see if I can find a video on this. I'll pull it up here.
What?
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
In like a fish tank? Or is this like on a lake?
Are you threading a cup onto your line?
Yeah. Here, there's a meat eater article about it right here. 1 second. Drop shouting wacky rig. Trying to see if I could find it. Yeah, there's a whole like it's called shrimp in a cup.
Shrimp in a cup sounds
It's crazy.
like it would be something completely different.
What?
Zoop, have you tried this method?
Yes.
Stop. Stop.
I don't understand how you get this to work.
Yeah, how do you get the air out of the cup? So
I need to know the rigging.
Here.
Zoop's like, yeah, I throw this on the bay all the time.
No. Here, turbo rig.
Zub is just teaching himself how to rig this right now because he's
No, I'm trying to find a
has
video
no
of it.
fucking clue what he's talking about.
Yeah. So that's
No,
not video
because
ones.
I freaking here. Where the heck is this? Come on. I know I read this in a book the one time.
You freaking what? We're podcasting here. You need to use words.
I know. I read here. Brennan, you talk about your bed fit. Well, Al, do you have any questions about just like how about the normal things that I've expressed, the absolute normal situations?
Yeah, I
With
mean that's always
the white craw to fire.
that's always a base. That's always a baseline, right? Like if you can get them to eat the white craw, that's what you would always prefer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's always what you have to start with, but I feel like
I've drifted away from the white craw because I feel like it just doesn't work as well as it
I
once
feel
did.
like like that's what you want them to eat, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So you always want to start with something like that, but I feel like more often than not, that's not what you're gonna end with.
I throw a craw. Well, I guess it's like a creature style bait, but the color is like identical. It's like a bluegill kind of color. It looks just like what Benton and Cook throw, like their kind of one, like almost identical colors. That one seems to work pretty good. Like Greenwood, I didn't feel like tying on a Texas rig at the time when I came across one on a bed. So I was throwing everything at it, just like a Senko, anything I had tied on, swim jig, whatever I could because I was lazy. And then I came back to it like an hour later with the Texas rig with the little craw lined up on there, flipped it in like second pitch. He ate it.
I had one fish on a bed that day that I caught that I was flipping all sorts of stuff at it. And like it was hard on the bed and it was like wasn't moving, but it just like wouldn't eat anything for some reason.
Yeah.
But there were these like big like I don't know exactly what they were. I think they were golden shiners, like swimming around in the grass, and they would get close to the bed, and he would like chase them off.
Yeah.
So, what I wound up doing, and what I wound up catching them on, was I took the hog farmer off the back of my chatterbait,
right,
and put it onto my Texas rig. And was flipped that on the bed, and then that's what he finally ate because it was like the size, color, and profile of these bait fish that he kept chasing away.
That's what you gotta do. You just gotta match what's pissing them off that day.
Yeah.
That or like a drop shot, I feel like for largemouth are kind of the 1-2 punch you need.
I mean, you look back at like, you know, a guy like, say, a bed fishing staple, a man like Drew Cook. He's not doing the fucking shrimp in a bottle.
No.
He's throwing a Senko and a flipping bait. You know what I mean?
Nobody's
just
doing
really-
nobody's doing the shrimp in a bottle. There's
I
zero.
don't know. I have the article up
There's 0 people doing a shrimp in a bottle.
until you really need one. Until you really need one.
I will say that the drop shot just like straight up works. Like sometimes, like, and it's not for all of them. Like you can tell. You can. Man, I like.
Let it out.
I don't want to like act like I'm like Drew Cook or something, or come off like this, but I genuinely think that. I like am really good at it.
Okay, big guy.
Like there's a few things that are like so unbelievably sneaky that I do that I don't really. I mean, I know that some guys do them, but I don't know if everybody does these things.
What are some of the things you do?
Okay. So one of the things is you can't pull this out until, well, in a tournament, I'll say.
Right.
If you're fun fishing, I guess it's whatever. But if you're in a tournament, you can't pull this out until it's like the end. Like this is complete, like last desperation. Like you're about to leave this fish and give up on it and like not come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last thing you're doing, because if you fuck it up, you really fuck it up.
Oh no.
Because this thing is throwing a jerk bait.
Oh yeah.
On the bed. And you can only do it as a last ditch thing because you might hook them not in the mouth.
Yeah. And he's gone.
And then you got to throw it back and you just completely fucked it. But like, if you're gonna just leave anyway, like, they kind of almost always bite it. Like pretty much all the time.
It's like a little gantarelle thrown across.
Oh yeah.
It looks like something.
Like
real.
if you can get it to the right depth that it's like
not digging,
you can twitch it to be 6 inches above the ground, sitting right in the middle of his bed. Like, it might take 3 or 4 casts, maybe, but like pretty much every single time it's gonna eat it.
You ever throw a fluke doing the same thing on a bed?
No,
I've done it with the fluke before.
Actually, yes.
Just switch it right across their face.
I have at Kerr. I did.
Swirl right on it.
I don't know. A fluke you put a stinger hook onto. If you're really being.
Yeah.
If they're just gonna swipe at it and peck at it, I like having something where I can put a stinger hook.
Another thing that I know guys know about this. This is a thing that I used to think everybody knew this, but I'm recently figuring out that everybody doesn't. So I don't know. I don't know if everybody knows this or not. I never thought it was sneaky until recently when I've said it to a few people and people are like, what? If you have a fish that's like locked onto the bed and he's he's on the bed, like he's not doing like the swim away thing, but he's also not eating. Like he's like just sitting there, like kind of not like being like super aggressive. I will tie on just like a 1 ounce weight just by itself.
Yeah.
With nothing else.
Right.
And I just whack him in the side with the weight as hard as I can.
No. Yeah, that's a thing.
And if you just keep doing it, you could just see him getting more and more pissed. And like if you're able to like hit him good like 3 or 4
Pete is
times,
coming for this guy's ass right now.
if you're able to like hit him good like 3 or 4 times in a row, and then you flip your bait in, like again, almost every time they eat it.
So I do a very similar thing actually, but I use a quarter of a 5/16 ounce weight because I don't want it to be too big. Because if the weight's too big, it knocks the treble hook out of the way. Kidding.
And clip it.
Yeah, clip that.
But
I don't do that. Anyway, go on, continue.
Sounding like a Jersey trout fisherman.
I feel like the whole whacking them with it thing is a thing that like I don't know, you watch like these pros and these elite guys like sit there and bedfish them for them like over and over, and I've never
I guarantee you they are whacking the fuck out of them.
But I've watched them on live. Like
I think they're afraid to do it on live.
I've watched them sit there on a fish for like 20 minutes and like not even try it, and I'm like, do they not do this?
Maybe they're just sneaky with it.
Like in my head, I'm like, dude, if I'm sitting on a fish for this long and he's not eating it, I would have done bin whacking him. Like,
do you ever whack them with the white craw? Because that's like a thing that I try to do is whack them with the white craw. Or do you think it scares them too much?
No.
I try to whack them with the craw first of all.
No, I try to do that too. The only reason I'm saying, is because like I don't want to hook them in the side. When I hit. Like, so that's why I tend to like what I'll try to do a lot of the time when I actually have like the bait with the hook and everything like on the rig is I'll try to like I'll cast past the bed. Like this is after I whack them a couple of times. I'll cast past the bed, right? So say the fish is facing like, say his head is to the left and his tail is to the right. I'm going to whack him a few times, get him mad. Then I'm going to cast my crawl past the bed. And I'm going to reel it up and try to keep it to the right side, like by his tail. And I'm going to stop it when I'm on top of him so that it falls. And when it's falling, it hits his tail. And when it hits his tail, he's going to spin around on a dime and eat it right away. And if he doesn't eat it right away, you pull the bait right back out and do it again. If you can get him to spin around, you can get him to do a 180, then he's going to eat it. When you bring it like right in front of his face and he sees it coming and you bring it to his nose, it's harder to get him to eat like that.
That makes sense because they're thinking about it. They think about ways they can move it.
Yeah. So now you've hit him a couple times. He's already mad. He's conditioned to like something's about to hit me. And then you drop that crawl on his tail. And he's like, this mother, and just spins around and mashes it. Like,
I guess jacked.
That exact like sequence right there is like the number one way I catch bedfish. Like, by far.
Wow, why do all your fish have bruises?
Building on your jerkbait really quick. I know it's a kind of a Florida thing, but I think it works here too. A prop bait is also something that kind of gets slept on a little bit when they're up shallow. You know what I mean? if you get that prop bait on them, is the only reason I'm saying that instead of like a plopper or something like that, or like not a plopper, a popper. I just feel like when the prop bait, if you have like the right conditions for it and it's just doing the spin, the death spin, when the prop bait does the death spin and it just has the little things in the air, the little propellers, I don't know, I think it gives like bluegill going.
Yeah.
I just think it gives him something to just go.
I think
Right,
the problem
yeah,
with a lot of the places I bed fish, like locally at least, is that it's like the opposite situation. Like the prop bait is something you want to throw when like the beds are like ultra shallow, but like most of the places that I bed fish like locally, the beds tend to be like deeper than usual. Like,
well, that's where the jerk bait could really come in.
yeah, for sure. Like I'm fishing a lot of like 5-6 foot beds. Like,
Yeah. Deeper, clearer stuff.
yeah.
One thing that's helped me a lot with bed fishing is I haven't done a lot of bed fishing out here in recent years. Where I go a lot, I do a lot of New York stuff. And I used to go to the slaw during opening season religiously. And that's bed fishing really early with scope. 20, 15, 20, even sometimes 25 feet of water. But it's also a much simpler approach there because they don't have the pressure. They're not seeing them. And it's kind of a team effort too.
It's also smallmouth.
It's also smallmouth.
Which, like,
they don't care.
Like I said, if you want to break down, like, you were like, oh, which largemouth versus smallmouth? I said largemouth because
that's
smallmouth. There's not really anything to break down.
Sometimes you do have to fire them up, though. I will admit, and this is another thing that I've learned with smallmouth, that with firing them up, or like not even firing them up on those shallow smallmouth beds, I think it's really important. Stay away. You don't have to work the fish, but you got to work the spot. I think sometimes you got to stay really far and make a really long cast at them. So
I have one of, and this is, you're not going to peer pressure me into saying this on this podcast. You peer pressured me into saying the other stuff I just said. This one I'm not saying.
Okay.
I am in year 3 right now of testing this theory. I have one single bait for smallmouth bed fishing that this is currently, like I said, the 3rd year of I have not one time in the past 3 years thrown this bait on a smallmouth bed and not caught the fish.
Do I know what it is? I feel like I know.
Maybe. It's not like a abstract,
crazy, you know?
It's not like a super, I mean, it's not common for like bed fishing, but it's not like a super like abstract bait. But like, dude, I've legit, like, I've not had one not eat it in 3 years now. Like, if I know the bed is there, I catch it every single time if it's a smallmouth. Largemouth is a completely different story. But the smallmouth bed, and this is not even like, I'm not even talking like St. Lawrence or Champlain. Like, I'm talking like pressured fish. Like, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, we're going to talk about something else because everybody's going to get mad if I talk about a mysterious nothing for too long. But
no. I'm trying to think, I had something about smallmouth. Oh yeah, this. So like sometimes on those pressured fish, this is something I kind of learned. Sometimes you just roll up on one and you spook them off the bed. Really forbidden, cursed technique. Take your drop shot. Take whatever you're throwing at them, your real basic thing. You blow up their spot. Put it on the bed.
Yep.
You're right on top of the bed. Drop it on there. Open up your bail.
And slink off.
Slank off.
The old slink. That me and Worth do that all the time. We call it the old slink off. The old slink off. You get to a point. This is what you do with the old slink off, right?
Yeah.
You drop the bait in. You open the bail, like you said, and you start trolling motoring away. And then you look at each other and you go, that's about far enough. And when you get to the point where you've decided you're far enough, 90% of the time you close your bail and he already has
And he's
it.
there. Yeah. I tend to have the experience of where I'm slinking off and then I just hear a fish jump. Like, all right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other little small mouthy things, but that's really about it. You know, you have your sirens, your bubble gums, your naturals.
The slink off is
thing. Speaking of slinking off, share my screen. I need to prove I'm not crazy. There it is.
Oh, it's like a pre-made thing.
Well, no, that's just an example of it.
Oh.
But you put any type of floating plastic and you basically have your line. Can you guys see my mouse or no?
No.
Here.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So your line goes here. And I'm not going to play this video. And basically you have your line in the cup. You have and then you have your bait. And the bait's floating. And you basically you're playing peekaboo with them. And they get curious and they get so fired up because they can't get this thing that keeps going in the cup.
That's so stupid.
This is the dumbest.
It's just no.
I'm just proving you I wasn't crazy.
It's still crazy.
Yeah,
it's still crazy, but it's like I'm not the only schizophrenic one. There's others.
Just dropping a whole cup onto the middle of his bed.
This fish is like, what the?
I'm serious. They go, can't get me now.
Not only is there a shrimp on my bed, but there is a whole new structure that has been placed into my bed for this said shrimp to hide in.
Right. Wouldn't that piss you off?
They're like lifting the cup open and closed. Like
the shrimp is bobbing out. It's an elastic shrimp. It's popping out, going, hello, hello, you know.
So the top of the cup is open, and they like.
Yeah, it's always open, but you're like, you're playing.
I'm just gonna say it. If you're out here using shrimp in a cup, you're a fucking asshole.
I want to use it now, though.
You're an asshole. You're such a piece of shit if you're using a shrimp in a cup.
I'm breaking that out next year.
What do you mean? I'm breaking it up this year.
It's so absurd.
How much is it on eBay?
No, you make your own. Don't buy one.
Oh no, I'm gonna buy a pre-made one.
No, this shrimp in a cup. It's got a stand. It keeps my cup up.
Yeah.
No, I put what I did was with I used a Z-Man TRD Cross.
Stop lying. You didn't do this.
Yes, I did. And I used a red Solo shot cup. Like one of those little shot ones. And then I had a little Carolina. You're doing like the dog. Just like that. There's that meme with the dog. Yeah. And like with a little Carolina rig weight. And that way it could slide there. Keeps the cup down. No? Not happening at all?
I'm praying for strength.
I can't find anything online.
What? It's called the turbo rig. One day you'll understand.
How many fish did you catch on it?
Maybe one, and I've tried it several times.
Maybe one?
Maybe one.
Yeah, 1 or 0. You know if you caught one on it.
I don't know if I landed it. I think the cup knocked the hook out of his mouth. It's a
All
Zoom
right, so
one,
we're gonna go with 0.
but it's a thing.
Ay.
Going with the sinker though, like I do, this definitely does have its place in the whole firing up aspect. Like I usually vouch for this instead of the weight.
Well, that is just another situation with the like the jerk bait where it's just like kind of terrifying.
Oh yeah, it's horrifying. Your land ratio sucks.
Well, it's also like my in the mouth ratio is what I'm more worried about.
Who cares about that? I'm kidding. I'm already top 3 worst people of all time. I could say these things.
Yeah.
It's true.
I guarantee if Brennan catches a 6-pounder and he has it like hooked in the side and nobody's on the boat, Brennan is weighing it in 100%.
No, never.
I wouldn't because I'm a good Catholic. Brennan, on the other hand.
I
But
was
no,
just
like
thinking about
coming
when
back
he
to
was in
that, that's why
I've
this is
thrown them
actually,
back before. I've been there.
No, you really do have to.
It's
Swimming
the
river,
worst
no.
thing ever.
The whole thing is like, I guarantee 75% of the guys won't do it. I just have a guilt complex where I'd feel so bad.
The
I would, like,
worst thing about it is like
sometimes it's out of the control and they need to eat it. You didn't snag them.
exactly.
It's just,
That's exactly what I was gonna say. The worst thing about it is when you see him try to eat it,
And you
and
go,
it
you
just
just
so happens to catch him out here, and it's like it's not like I didn't snag him. He
No.
ate it. Like it just kind of slid out of his mouth and then caught here. Like you know that he intended to eat it, and you still got to put him back.
I mean, here's the thing.
Like,
Though. Sometimes they don't even intend to
oh.
eat it. They just intend to freaking kill it. You know what I mean? They're just trying to ram it sometimes. That's just a part of the game.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing worse.
Because here's the thing. Sometimes you're throwing a top water, you're throwing a jerk bait, you're throwing any type of moving bait. Crankbait happens 90% of the time. You're not catching them in the mouth.
I mean, listen.
But they're not on the bed. They're just trying to kill it. They're trying to push it.
Listen, all I'm saying is if we all could find a way to get as much integrity as Jeff Sprague, then the world would be a better place.
I love Jeff. And Mike. And Brennan Chuprinko.
Oh.
And Andre.
Oh, yeah. No, my one friend this guy named Andre Vicari, he actually uses a slip bobber and a Carolina rig to snag smallmouth.
Andre just
and eat them.
Andre's just blind. So, like, I've seen him be like, oh, he's got it. And he's nowhere near it. And he just sets the hook right into his tail. Like, I saw that happen once. And it's like, it's not malicious. It's not like.
It's just pure ignorance.
He's just blind, dude. It's like I literally heard. I'm watching his bait. I'm watching the fish, and he goes, "Oh, he's got it." And I'm like, "Your bait's like a foot away from the fish," and then
I can see him doing that with his like heavy ass flipping stick
right into his tail.
Oh.
Here's another thing though, really quick. That's like kind of important. Like, Al, what size jerkbait are you throwing? Are you throwing a full size one at him?
Sometimes.
I like throwing a small one at him. Like even this Ganarelle, like you think, oh, swim bait. This is a Ganarelle Junior. I just like throwing the small one at him because I don't think they dial on it. I think they get the small one better. I really do.
Accidentally eat it.
I think there's less leverage.
I mean, my thought process on it is just like I'm throwing whatever I have in the box that's gonna like land in the right depth that I want it to be.
Yeah.
Is more what I'm thinking about instead of like the size, but
I just try and keep it small and compact.
Yeah, I mean both. I've done it with both.
Oh, good topic. Hey,
I think in
You guys-
theory I'd prefer it to be smaller, obviously, but
Like a little junior.
Never heard of that before. Anyway,
yeah, not that one.
not that one. Podcast 25.
That is true.
We made it
Look at
a
us.
quarter century.
Look at us go.
No, it's not how that works, really. But
Yeah, like
We might as well be.
we're oh
You've
my god, we
taken
could do a
taking a quarter century off of my life.
we should do a podcast 25 giveaway.
Go ahead.
We give away Alex Johnson's 25 best bed fishing secrets.
I mean, you've gotten 2 of like 7, so
Ooh, I could give away a turbo rig. And a Zoom turbo rig.
Here's your solo cup and a shrimp. Enjoy.
Here's your Z-Man kicking crab.
all right, the first one to comment on this YouTube video, shrimp in a cup, gets a homemade Jason Zubris red solo cup Z-Man TRD craw turbo rig.
I could even use this container that I accidentally knocked off.
Looks like a piss container.
No, this is actually the hook that was stuck in my hand at Bugs Island.
Oh, perfect.
I think that's a good memento.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
I guess we do. I don't want to do like a whole hour on it, but
We're already pretty deep. I think we just do a quick rundown.
yeah, I just think it needs to be mentioned that the elites are back this week. Don't forget to set your
that. I thought we were going to talk about the fact that Kentucky Lake's kind of back.
Oh, well, Kentucky Lake's a smallmouth lake now. We
Yeah,
kind of
Kentucky
already
Lake's a
did
smallmouth lake.
do
We
an
did talk
episode
about
on
the
it.
smallies.
We did do an extended talk about this, but this kind of just proves it even further. I mean, in June, for them to be catching fish that good on Kentucky Lake, like, it's just awesome to see.
It's really good to see, especially like guys said, it was a tougher practice and they just showed out.
Yeah,
really-
And half of them weren't like just, not as much scoping, and they're still catching them.
Like old school techniques came back out, like ball and chain.
Guys
Alan Jones just
dragging,
throwing a
sitting.
22-inch
and
worm.
and also like there was a pretty healthy mix of largemouth too. Like guys were catching a lot of.
It wasn't a mix
nice
of both, but I
largemouth.
think you weren't really any giants, like you had a lot of, but you had like a lot of 5-pounders showed up, like
Yeah,
really good quality fish over 100 pounds a day. That's a great fishery, man.
I thought it was really, really, really awesome to see for that lake. Like,
It shows that their conservation efforts were working.
yeah, it seems like it's definitely rebounding in a big way to a point where, like, yeah, it's not exactly the same lake as it was, but it's like it's not even that it's like better or worse anymore. It's just different now. But depending on what lens you look at it through, it can be just as quote unquote good. Like you catch a lot of fish, you can catch a lot of fish there now. And I think it's kind of just the beginning of it, like being on its rise back. I think 3-4 years from now, I think the tournaments at Kentucky Lake are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
as long as they keep up killing those Asian carp.
That those fish get a couple good spawns and keep growing.
And it got a serious break from the pressure there for a while.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot too.
Is worth noting. Like people don't like Kentucky Lake was like a destination, like let's go on vacation to ledge fish at Kentucky Lake type thing. And like that has like fallen off the map
Yeah.
to the point where it's like I feel like it's June. You weren't seeing 8,000 boats out there all fishing on the same ledge. Like it's a big lake too. So like I don't know exactly how it's setting up. Like, I don't know if guys were fishing close to each other. I don't know if, like,
No.
what parts of the lake are like, if there's a section that's like
Half the lake was also off limits, and Barkley was off limits, I'm pretty sure.
really. Where was the off limits?
The bridge.
Like, you couldn't go south?
You can go south of the bridge, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because that's like the meat and potatoes of the lake there that
I'm gonna say that's pretty far down, isn't
showed
it?
out. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool to see. I actually, like, for the first time in a long time, I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of want to go to Kentucky Lake. Like, it's been a long time since I've said that.
Oh, happy.
But
Long live the elites. We're so fucking back.
a lake I definitely don't want to go to is 10 Killer.
Oh yeah.
Which is where
Yikes.
they are this week. Oklahoma in June on 10 Killer. I'm good without that.
I don't really want to go to Oklahoma, period. Let alone.
No, trust me, you don't.
No.
You don't.
Quick story
As
about
somebody who tried it again for
Yeah.
good old fashioned shits and giggles, you don't.
Quick story about 10 Killer. So I did not qualify that year. This was my first year. This was actually the week we were on Cayuga. That was my first college tournament. My buddies qualified for the Bassmaster Natty on 10 Killer in 2017, 2018. It was so hot, they both had heat stroke and had to go to the hospital during practice.
Nice.
I think KJ Queen won it. Oh, that's a notable thing to keep in mind. But it was 1,000 degrees. No, it was Cody that won it, actually. Cody Huff won that.
That makes more sense.
On a big old spoon. Spoon in the docks. It was like 110 degrees. Bass were boiling in the live well. And the key story out of 10 Killer, Oklahoma at that time is that across from my buddy's Airbnb, there was an elderly woman that got mauled to death by a pack of rogue Dobermans. Not dope. Yeah. Wiener dogs.
What?
Yeah. Wiener dogs.
Why? How?
I don't know. Anyway, that Oklahoma is how.
Yeah.
With
yeah,
that,
great place to be.
the
Great
luck has
place
not
to be.
changed at all. Apparently, last week the lake dropped 7 feet, and now this week the lake has came up another like 10 feet.
So we're +3 right now.
Yes, the ramp has flooded. I know. Everything's underwater. The fishing's still not bad, but there's like one single lane ramp that is like the only thing that's accessible right now. It's the top of a flood chain.
Cool.
If there isn't, I didn't look at fantasy yet. If Jason Christie doesn't have 100%, people are stupid. I don't know. I didn't even look at the buckets yet.
What
But
about
Jason
Carl?
Christie lives on the lake. Did you kick him?
I'm looking at my thing right now.
Did you kick Brennan? Did you kick him out?
Brennan? Did I kick him?
Yeah.
No, I didn't kick
Yeah.
him.
Where'd he go?
No. Oh, I don't know. I was looking at my buckets. I don't know. He's gone.
Well, I'll share my screen. I'll get started then. Now wait for him to come back.
Yeah, let's just run through this really quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a whole there he is.
No idea what happened. Sorry, my computer just went black.
So we're going to start with this. So, oh my God, look at the waves. There we go. All right. Bassmaster Elite Lake 10 Killer. I think this is a lake where you just go fishing. You know what I mean? There's largemouth, smallmouth. I think it's a lake where you go fishing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go fishing. That's for sure.
I have
Post
Trey
spawn,
McKinney
Google spawn.
because I have Trey McKinney forever. So
You had Trey McKinney forever, but do you remember how this was won the last time?
dragging a jig.
Nobody does that better than this motherfucker right here.
Oh, but
I see Tyler Williams putting on an absolute clinic this week.
he's hot right now.
Quite
He's
possible.
He's hot right now. It's got nothing to do with fishing, but he's hot right now.
He's hot. When you're hot, you're hot. Koya, another good pick. Hamner. I honestly, there isn't a bad pick in here except for, there really isn't a bad pick, but there's always the Trey McKinney. You know, the smallmouth are a thing again.
Trey McKinney's going to be ripping that jig.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking Trey no matter what.
Yeah.
Anyway, B.
I like an Atkins. I love a Palmer. I think he's very versatile. I love a Luke Palmer in this situation.
I have, and I don't even know how he's in bucket B, but somehow I'm able to get both of my golden boys at the same time, and I have Sweet Baby.
Yeah, is Sweet Baby in here?
Sweet Baby's
Yeah,
in
up
here.
towards the top.
Oh, how about that?
That would be Sweet Baby John Garrett, who is my bucket B pick.
This will set up good for Sweet Baby. I
It
like it.
seems to me like it sets up unbelievable for Sweet Baby. So
And only 10%. It's a steal.
yeah.
What do you got, Brennan?
I'm thinking Sweet Baby John Garrett.
Hell yeah.
He's
See.
still, what is he overall for the year? Has he dropped down in AOY?
It said 15.
Hmm.
But it's weird
Oh, wow.
because it includes the classic. So like some
Ah.
people are higher than others on like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I immediately shot Carl at 8%. I'm like, that can only mean one thing. Hi, Jason.
Yeah.
Like, Bo could be a good pick. Stetson could do good. Jordan could do good. Randy Howell.
Paul at 8% and Jordan at 11%. While I don't think that's wrong, I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyone else towards the bottom? KJ.
I mean, you could slap another one on this. Slapper's slapping right now.
Slap Daddy. I mean, going back to back with a Sweet Baby and then a Slap Daddy. I mean,
Dude, that's
talk
a
about a
combo.
1-2 punch.
Uh-huh.
What are we thinking? GDP up in here?
I was just going to shout out Greg DePalma. Instant pick. Yeah. Yeah, there he is. Ooh. I'm conflicted.
When I get to these lower buckets, my strategy. Oh, I see who you're looking at. My strategy is usually just like look at the names and is like, who do you think is the best in this group right now?
Mhm.
He
There's two
has
picks.
what?
Go ahead.
He has not been fishing well,
No.
but I feel like in a tournament that might be old schoolish and might be you can kind of do whatever you want.
I think
I
him.
took Brandon Cobb.
Oh, I like Brandon Cobb. I like a Cobb pick.
Yeah.
What about you, Brennan?
I don't know. Do you go with a little young gun like a Cody Huff out in, or
Well, he just said he won the college national championship there.
Yeah, that's why his percentage is so high.
yeah?
Totally different conditions.
That is Cody Huff country, though.
It is Cody
Yeah,
Huff
he does. Well, he's like Missouri, right? Yeah.
but it's also Kenta Kamara country.
It is, actually. People forget that. It
I
is
know.
Kenta country.
It's gonna be a game time decision on Wednesday night.
Kenta's having a rough go though.
He's been for a while.
He's due.
He's great in the opens, though,
Oh, great in the opens.
which is so strange. But anyway,
Considering they're almost harder.
yeah.
Not almost harder. are
They're
harder.
definitely
actually.
harder. They're definitely harder.
I.
Muskegee.
Actually, no. Shout out
I don't know. You can
JTK.
see someone like
Yeah, I mean, I'm not picking Blake Caps. I don't care if he's from Oklahoma.
Who else is down in here?
I kind of like Blake.
Mueller, baby. Candlewood translates perfectly to 10 killer.
I don't hate a Matty Wong pick.
I decided to go with the same thought process as Bucket D and pick a guy who hasn't been fishing well, but like usually does fish well. And I'm taking a guy under the same name, and I picked Brandon Card.
He's all the way down here. Damn.
Yeah.
Rough.
Also, I just noticed something. Holy shit. Steve Kennedy is in last place.
Doesn't surprise me considering I picked him last tournament and he sucked.
Like, wasn't he in AOY contention last year?
Probably. Steve
Wasn't he in the conversation?
Didn't he get like, I don't know. He did well in what?
About everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Kennedy like has always been like completely silently one of the better guys out there, and it's just not happening this year.
Yeah, guys that were surprised. Dude, G-Man not looking good.
No.
Mm-mm.
Blake Caps is honestly one of the better ones in the route there.
Hank Cherry, maybe.
Eh.
Well,
Someone who's versatile. I don't know. Who would you see in a high water situation doing good? You see Swindle doing good in this, but this is hard because I know there's smallmouth they're firing too.
It's
Even though the
all
lake's rising.
I might need my man Bernie.
it's all coming up Dubinator on this one.
Oh my God, Gussie's in this bracket?
Ooh.
Yeah, Gussie's having a tough go at it.
He needs to qualify for that classic.
The only reason his points are as high as they are is because he was in the classic.
Yeah.
His like AOI standing is way worse than 66.
Well, with that, there is going to be a giveaway for this one. Or do we do this after the winners?
We do it after.
We do it after?
Yeah.
Well, there will be a giveaway. Just
How are
so
you going to
know.
give away the winning bait when you don't know what it is yet?
Oh, no. We already know what the winning bait is.
Shrimp in a cup.
Shrimp in a cup.
All right, so comment shrimp in a cup to get in
Shrimp in a
early on the winning bait that nobody realizes is the winning bait yet.
If I'll give away his last bed fishing secrets, I will give away the clutch boss.
Okay, that's not going to happen. All right. That was
All
Brennan
right.
Chuprinko. Have a good night. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye.
Midnight.